Today is August 15th, 2025, and today we are meeting Olvera. Olvera came through May 17th, 2022 at 9:08:06 p.m. and she did so roughly 3 weeks following the last being we introduced, who was Ouhrg, who we'll take a quick look at here now just to refresh our memory. Olvera came through in a rendering request for a person who at that time was new to our group. When she did, I found it interesting because this species of being I had seen once previously in a transmission that came through the crystal, somewhere near the beginning of when all of this began, or nearer to the beginning than we are here in this point in the process. And in that transmission was a person I know here in the earth life, a very dear friend and channeler, Rob Gauthier. He looked much as he does here in the earth life in this incarnation. However, he was dressed in garb common to a time deep into our past, just a common attire of perhaps a farmer or something along this line, perhaps even a warrior, but yeah, common clothing. And this species of being was in the frame with him. They were very clearly friends, and were standing with their arms around one another. This indicated the closeness at which they were. And at that time, Rob had a new wife, Kalina Angell, who I immediately associated with this being. At that time, I also associated Kalina herself with the Arcturians, who she had come forward to mention her connection with. So all of these connections are coming to me. When I'm seeing this species of being, it just lends me to the idea that this is potentially what we would refer to as an Arcturian species or being. And the time frame. The time frame is interesting. It's interesting because of the lack of light that came through in this particular transmission in which Rob was appearing with this being. One of the few or rare, let's say, transmissions that came through with such little light. It was very dark, which gave me the idea that the time frame, exact or in general, was the Dark Ages. And the attire that Rob's wearing in the transmission also aligns well with that idea. So that also informs me to some degree of this being's connection to the earth and the earth life, and to some of those who are here now from the time of the Dark Ages. I'm not exactly sure when the Dark Ages was exactly, but I'm thinking the 10th century, something in this time frame, the very early Middle Ages. In that frame also, I will say it was very easy for me to get an idea of the general structure of the species of being, which was standing roughly half the height of Rob himself, which would indicate a being somewhere in the 3 feet tallish height area. I do feel a connection. I feel a very nice and very deep and very comforting connection. But I have not, again, had time to spend in any length with Olvera herself. or this species of being. But this said, I do very easily, whenever I see this species or Olvera herself, in this case, feel the connection quite easily, very, very comfortably. There's a very nice comfort in here that if I were to explore, I might find some more detail in. However, it has not happened yet. There are two things I will point out as we are introducing Olvera, and that is if you look into the background of the transmission and see the environment in which she's coming through, this is indicative of a particular location within the structure of this crystal, in which quite a few other beings also come through, one of which is a being named Abe. And you can see, and I have shared in the past, how the beings do come through directly through one another. And seeing Abe here, we can see that he shares some similar characteristics, notably in the eyes, the same exact eyes as Olvera herself. And again, a few others who we won't see here now, but that do come through this area of the crystal. Also, when Olvera came through, she came through with a rainbow pink, peach, and blue stripe down her left eye. I actually had to work on the frame to get the other eye in and the stripe out. The reason I'm mentioning this is because another being also came through in this way. Others as well. But I'm just going to show you the one because we've already introduced her to you. But this stripe down the left eye. So I try to read this information, not just the information that's in the hues, the rainbow hues and the color of the stripes themselves, but also the fact that it came down the left eye. So I've mentioned again, those who sit at the pinnacle of the structure, forming the portal through which the beings we've met thus far have been coming through as being that of two particular beings. One who we have felt is aptly aligned with by the name On, and the other, the Black Dragon Queen, who I also often call Nyala. And so it would be Nyala's side that is on the left, and so the stripe coming down through the left eye may indicate that this being's connection, Olvera herself and the being that we're about to introduce, or maybe that I'm even showing you now as I'm speaking, are connected to me solely through the right eye side, which would be that of On. Now, I don't know how to read that information any further or how that could even be so, but the idea does come through when I do see this stripe coming down the left eye. And in fact, coming down the whole left side of the face, but of course the eye being what is most covered over by the rainbow colored stripe. Now, the other being who came through, and the reason I'm going to bring her back now, is Mir. And Mir came through with a black and blue stripe down the left side. Now, black is a color associated with the Black Dragon Queen and Nyala. And so, again, I have more work, more investigating to do to see what this stripe down the left eye could potentially mean. I'm just bringing through some ideas right here now, just to give you an idea again of how information in the frame is actual data that can be read. Reading picture symbols are not as easy as word symbols, of course, which we tend to understand with much more immediacy. But the data is there and it can be read. And when time is spent going into it, it becomes very clear in the experience in which this is happening. It's just that, again, time is short these days, and work is work. And one day the retirement may come, or the leisure time itself in which I can spend more time in investigation with these frames. But let's go back to Mir here. I have, or I'm going to show you now the way Mir originally came through in her original transmission so that you can, again, get an idea. It's been a while since we've shown this in this series, how the beings originally come through. Okay, and so these are rotated upright and cropped and sometimes mirrored, depending on how the beings come through and how much extraneous interference had come through in the frame when I was actually capturing it. And so right now we're just floating through how she originally came through, then having her upright. And then in Mirror's case, we did mirror the frame so that you could get a sense of her full being. And again, so that she is facing you eye to eye and you can connect with her eye to eye. Again, the experience is very different when the being is looking at you, not just you looking at the being. And that adds an extra level of what can be possible in the working with these transmissions. Again, the main reason we're doing this is to help prepare the human central nervous system for first contact, for the graduation or growth out of the third grade classroom into that of the fourth, into galactic space, which is the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. Okay, back to Olvera. Such a beautiful being. Doesn't she make you smile? It's so sweet. Yeah, potentially an Arcturian being, 3 feet high in stature or thereabout, connected with Earth and some of us here in the Earth space since before the time of the Dark Ages. Something along this line is information I have captured so far in the working with this frame. There is more. I'm not going to go into more detail, though here I am trying to keep these video segments to 10 or 15 minutes. Just to put the most important things through. However, every one of the video segments comes with a website article that is written up as well, and often there is more information in the website articles. So those are always linked to in the show notes. And so if you're interested, do always take a moment just to peek in there and see if I did add any more information to that which I put through in the video portion of the segment. Okay, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and recede now. So those who wish can have a moment to just peacefully, openly, generously connect with this being if they so choose. Mm. Okay, this was Olvera. We will be back again soon with the next being.